Hello. And today, we'll start with the newest update of Heart of Amethyst. So, we're back to this VN now. This new update came out, I think, about 10 or 11 days ago. And all the three routes got updated. So, there's new content for each route. So, we're going to go to the ball. I believe it's being held for the prince's birthday. And the king's retainers are required to attend. So Ellie and Almond and Ekalis and Wrick are going to attend the ball. And we're going to go ahead and see what happens. You know, since there's a lot of elite people going to be there, like nobles and stuff like that, I think you know what to expect. But people like that be around people like Ellie. So, I'll go ahead and start with Almond. So, also, all the new sprites, the three characters are implemented now. Almond, Ekalis, Wrick, and Ellie, all of them have new sprites now. So, you look at this new sprite of Almond, he looks a lot taller and muscular now. So. I think Almond's 6'2", and so he looks to be almost as tall, about as tall as the old sprite for both Ekalis and Wrick. If like this new sprite of him, he seems to be just as tall as the old sprites for Ekalis and Wrick. So later on, we'll see the new sprites for those two and see how different those are. So, we'll go ahead and start with Almond. I was feeling like shit by the time we made it to the castle. All that drinking and walking had drained all my energy, and I was not feeling mentally stable either. To say that my mind is all over the place would be an understatement. I now have to face an even bigger threat than I had feared. What can I even do against such a big organization as a church? Do I even stand a chance? My distress must have been apparent by Almond, who in an attempt to calm me down, grabs my hand and leads me towards the entrance of the main castle. Once we made it there, I'm immediately astonished by the beauty of the structure in front of me. It's so big that it may as well be touching the sky, giving the building an air of grandeur. At the same time, every single corner of the castle seems very well taken care of. There is not a single spot or stain in any of its walls. The metallic inscriptions and decorations shine like pearls. All the banners hanging from it have not been shredded in any sort of way, and a marble statue that decorates the center of the garden ends the whole display on a high note. Simply a work of art that cannot be compared to anything I've seen before, not even the castle back in Rose Island. Hard to say, eh? It's beautiful. Glad I like it, because we're going to be spending the next week here, mate. Really? I thought we were just staying the night. For the ball and all. I said to Almond, feeling a little confused as I had not been informed of this change of plans. Well, that was the plan, but the king decided to stay for a few days. Don't ask me why, because I don't know. I thought he told you, mate. I never heard of it. Oh well, don't feel too bad. I was informed about it in the same morning of our trip here, so maybe it was a last minute decision and he just forgot. Yeah. The king doesn't strike me as the kind of man that would just forget about stuff like this. But Almond has a point, he's old. So maybe he indeed just forgot about it. In any case, I decided not to dwell on it as I followed Almond further into the garden. So, a big party, eh? Yes, pretty big. It's his birthday, you know. And what type of stuff do you in a party like this? What type of stuff do you in a party like this? Oh, you know the usual. I wait for the wolf to elaborate, but the answer never comes. He just stands there, awkwardly scratching the back of his neck. I get impatient and nudge him on the side. Could you be more precise, please? Kinda new on this. Oh, well, you see, I'm not that good at it either, mate. You kinda bark at the wrong tree here. Well, any recommendations? Don't talk to strangers. So, don't talk to anybody? Gotcha. We both stare and chuckle as we close in to a big crowd that has formed in front of the entrance. All these people look really important and fancy, making me feel really out of place among them. Almond guides me to the entrance furthest away from the main one. It was a wolf knight standing guard. Identify yourselves, the man says with a demanding voice. I instinctively hide behind Almond, who luckily takes the initiative and speaks. We are the king's retainers, Sir Almond and Sir Ellie. The king informed you of our presence? The wolf eyes us up and down, trying to guess if what Almond is saying is true or not. But before the man can speak again, a very weak voice interrupts the conversation. Yes, let them through, please. The mother-like unknown face makes its appearance from behind the big guard. The small dog seems as nervous as always, but he manages to spare me a smile as he sees me. Very well, this way please. The guard opens a wooden door that leads to a dark hallway, illuminated only by a few candles. You go on ahead, mate. I'll catch up with you later. I really don't want to be there more than necessary, so I'll arrive a little late. I nod to that and then enter the hallway, waving my hand to him before the door closes. Before I can muster a word, I get dragged through endless corridors within the castle. This is far darker than I expected, making me feel a little nervous. Zack explained that we are beneath the main hall, some sort of secret passages that, according to him, are not really secret at all. And what are these used for? Mostly for moving around. The servants in the castle have many tasks to perform daily, so these help with getting from one place to another more effectively. Though you need to learn the layout first. Goddesses know I got lost so many times as a rookie. You used to work here? Yes, I was adopted by the royal family when I was just a baby. I was an orphan and they raised me to be what I am. I owe them a lot. So you've been working as a butler since you were a kid? Not that you're not a kid right now, but I mean, even younger? Yeah, since I was 5. I would pay to see you in your cute little butler outfit. Must have been such a cute kid. Zack refrains from saying something. Instead, he just whines like a little puppy, his cheeks burning bright red even through the darkness of the hallway. In any case, the conversation dies there as we reach a changing room, which according to Zack we will use to get to get me into my party attire. The place is not very spacious, but I don't get much time to explore as the little butler insists for me to get on my underwear. I'm about to make a dirty joke about that, but he seems in a hurry so I refrain from it. I do as he says and strip my dirty clothes, dropping them on the ground. He then proceeds to spray me with a heavy smelling cologne that almost drowns me. The scent is so strong that I swear made me tear up. But before I could catch my breath, he puts layer after layer of clothes on top of me, each more tight than the previous one. Master, please, stay still. I need to button this. Buddy, if you do that, I might suffocate. And I wish I were joking, but I'm not. This gotta be the most uncomfortable attire that I've ever worn. Like, seriously, who would put this on willingly? We're almost done. Please be patient. Just get over it, buddy. There's just one last strap in. He tightens the last piece of clothing around my back and my chest, and I promise you, I heard my ribs cracking. There, all done. You're looking dancing, sir. I can't breathe. After suffering through that, I exited the room and headed towards the main hall. Sad left my side before I made it to the door. He told me that he wasn't allowed there, as only the top butlers and maids were able to serve in big parties. Made sense after all, he's just an apprentice. So I said my goodbyes to him with a hug and left him be. God says no, the poor kid must be super busy. Now back to the present, I'm standing in front of the door to the main hall, which is enormous. Almost as big as a 3-story house. I wait in front of it for a few seconds before I notice that the guests are not actually entering through this door, but rather a small side door to the right. I wonder why even build such a big door. I mean, if you're not gonna use it, why put it here in the first place? Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, not wishing to waste any more time. I move in line with the rest of them. By the door, there is a fancy-looking Samoyed butler picking up invitations. And as I notice I don't have one of those, I start to panic. I have no invitation. I was never given one. What am I supposed to do? Do I try to find one of the others, or is there another entrance for the retainers? My mind starts to race, but before I could do something about it, I find myself in front of the line. A very tired Samoyed looking down on me. Invitation, he coldly says, extending his hand toward me. I don't have one, sir. He lifts his eyebrow at me and then sighs. Name. Ellie. Ellie Biscotti. Sir Biscotti, come in. King retainers don't need an invitation. Here's some murmurs behind me. People talking about what's taking so long, criticizing me for wasting their time. I try to give them no importance, but they start to bluntly say some nasty things. So the rumors were true. Yes, he's a commoner that almost killed the king. What is this world coming to? A nasty commoner like him walking on these grounds. I've heard that all the king's retainers are freaks like him. What's that man thinking? That old man's totally losing it. We need the prince to step up and quick. I don't want to accept it, but I feel crushed under the avalanche and negative comments coming my way. I turn around, trying to find the ones who said those things, but I'm only met with hateful expressions and judging gazes. Sir, please move along. The butler placed his hand on my shoulder and kindly directed me into the main hall. I can still feel their gazes glued to the back of my head. Those eyes who silently tell me, you don't belong here. I still remember the feeling of entering a throne room for the first time. Places designed with the sole purpose of making everyone feel insignificant except for the one sitting on the silver chair. Well, I can take that feeling and shove up my ass. This place is twice as big and 10 times fancier than the throne room back in Laguna Castle. The walls seem to be made out of white, gold, and jewels. And as you walk, you get the feeling of stepping on diamonds as the tiles shine as if. If you look up, you'll be met by beautiful paintings splattered all over the ceiling, which is being held by many rows of chiseled pillars carved to perfection by the artist. Finally, my attention is drawn to the end of the room, where an enormous golden statue guards the throne, in which currently no one is sitting. I move around the room, trying to remain close to the walls as I don't want to get swallowed by the sea of people. There are all notes of different races and backgrounds. Some of them are dancing to the music of the orchestra, but most are engaging in lively conversation. And of course there are some loners like myself, just standing around and looking into the direction of the crowd. Now here's when I ask myself, what should I do? All I can think about is how not to embarrass myself again. Maybe I could try dancing, although it looks a little complicated for me. Or I could try socializing with the royals, but I honestly don't think I have anything in common with them. There's always an option to go get a snack. I'm feeling quite hungry after all. My mind races as I try to decide on what to do, going through the many different outcomes and possibilities. And most of them end in a very bad note. But I really can't just stand around doing nothing. So I take a deep breath and then move towards the main stage, awkwardly making my way among all the people. I end up by the edges of the crowd, just a few steps away from the dancing patrons. They delicately move around in pairs, the men holding the ladies by the waist and them in return placing their hands on their partner's shoulders. From time to time, the ladies make a spin in place, and then the gentlemen hold them down, preventing them from touching the ground. The way I see it, it seems simple enough, but that's not the real challenge here. The thing that I'll most likely have trouble with is going to be ask a lady to be my dancing partner. With a smile, I notice the approach a fancy-looking vixen, but she looks at me and then ignores me. I tried the same before other ladies, but to no avail. I get no positive responses from any of them. Tired of it, I decide to just leave and take some fresh air. But as I'm about to exit, I feel a gentle tap on my shoulder. I turn around and meet face to face with a very handsome wolf. His fur is almost completely white, except for some gray areas of his hair, sideburns, and chin. The man seems quite bulky under the many layers of clothing he has on, and his facial features are nice looking. His eyes are as green as the leaves of spring, and his expression is warm like the morning sun. Excuse me, by any chance, are you looking for a dance partner? I was silenced by the suddenness of the question. I could barely muster a word, which he doesn't seem to mind as he gives me a few seconds to compose myself. Yeah, I am, but none of the ladies seem willing. Well, I am no lady. But if you would be so kind, do you wish to share this piece with me? The man extends his hand and places it in front of me, making his proposition even clearer. I look around as if we were doing something wrong and then ask him, "You sure we can do that then? You sure we can do that, man? We're both dudes." People are going to start talking. The wolf seems taken aback by my words, but after a few seconds he just giggles and pays him no mind. "I assure you, dance is not a matter of sexes, it's a matter of heart. Let them talk as much as they want. Still, if you decide not, we don't have to. No, I mean, if you say it's okay, then I guess I could try." Sadly, I take his hand, and with a smile he guides us to the dance floor. The unknown wolf takes my waist, meaning that I will be the lady in this situation. So I place my arms around his neck, our bodies very close to one another. The music starts and a few royals give us dirty looks, but no one dares to say anything, at least not out loud. I'm feeling rather nervous, which makes me trip over my own feet more than once, but the wolf is kind enough to help me keep the pace. "Try to relax, sir. I find it comforting to look into my partner's eyes while dancing. He holds me closer and then smiles, taking the lead completely. Our faces are very close to the point where I can feel his warm breath hit against my nose. I try to follow him with my clumsy moves and eventually I ease into it. He's very good at dancing. His movements are swift and delicate, but at the same time carry some force to them, making it easier for me to follow his steps. You're getting into it. First time? Yeah, not much of a dancer myself. Really? You're a natural then. I smile, feeling rather light as I move around with the stranger. It's hard to explain, but he's got a certain comforting aura. Around him. You're very good. Thank you. I've had to practice it since I was a child. Royal protocol? Indeed. Here comes the time for me to spin, but I tripped and almost fell. Luckily he catches me in his arms and holds me tight. Oh, you're alright. Yeah, I'm golden, just a bit dizzy. Where have you gotten anything to drink? Oh no, it's not because of that. I haven't drank anything yet. Would you like to then? We could share a glass of wine if you fancy. Looking around, I see more and more eyes locked onto us, which makes me feel self-conscious. Yeah, fuck it. Let's have a drink. The man laughs at the bad word and then places me carefully on my feet, making me realize that he had been holding me all this time. My cheeks blush at that, but he seems to pay it no mind, opening and pair through the crowd as we move away from the dance floor. This way then, he says, and I just follow. We come to a stop once we reach a pillar far away from the crowd. The sea of people seems to be gathering up front, so I'm guessing he chose this area so we could have a more tranquil chat. Being around too much people sometimes gets to me. Nothing better than to take a breather from time to time, don't you agree? Yeah, not a big fan of crowds either. I feel suffocated after a while. We see a short moment of silence, both of us taking our time to check the other one out. Taking a closer look at him, his face reminds me of someone, but I'm not sure about who. Well, my manners, I haven't even introduced myself, have I? My name is Snow Clearwater. Clearwater? I knew I had seen this man before. Well, I haven't seen him in person ever, but I heard him. This man is one of the 5 viceroys who alone the king ruled over the kingdom. And to think I would run into such an important figure. Still, what do I even say? Okay, no reason to fret. I've spoken to the king many times before. I'll just mind my manners and have a normal conversation. My name is Sir Ellie Biscotti. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. The man looks at me dumbfoundedly, and after a few seconds of uncomfortable silence, he bursts into laughter. His chuckles are quite adorable, I give him that, but why is he laughing? What did I do? Did I do something dumb? I try to play it cool, but I can feel the heat get into my head. I'm so sorry, Sir Ellie. I really don't mean any harm. It's just that we've been talking without honoraries or boundaries this whole time. The contrast is just too funny. I couldn't take it. Please forgive me. He continues to chuckle. And although I feel a little embarrassed, I start to crack too. Yeah, I kinda said fuck in front of you, didn't I? You still did, but I promise I don't mind. We stare at that moment for a bit longer, but eventually we just stop and look at each other. You're nothing like I expected, Sir Ellie. Those rumors don't do you any good at all. So I guess you heard about my deeds. Well, the whole kingdom knows about it at this point. They paint you like some sort of crazy power maniac who's got nothing to lose. Most people are afraid of you. Really? I want the back of my head look away. Geez, I knew my reputation was bad, but I didn't expect it to be this bad. I probably should do something about it. I'll ask Almond and see if he's got any ideas about it. So, aren't you scared, Sir Snow? Me? After meeting you, not at all. I would even say your company is quite lovely. I smile at that, feeling grateful that I'm at least liked by someone. Besides, I'm not the kind of man that listens to rumors anyway. I personally hate them. That's why I always go through life deciding what to think and do for myself, not depending on what others say. Such as dancing with a power maniac. Precisely. I like this guy. He feels like a breath of fresh air among a bunch of smoke. Same way I feel alongside the other retainers. Although, I must be honest with you, our encounter was not entirely random. I had another reason to want to approach you. An ulterior motive, if you want to call it that way. It's nothing bad, I assure you. Well, these things are not usually a good sign, but we come so far, might as well hear the guy out. Besides, it's to be expected. It's okay, man, just speak your mind. Thank you kindly. He seems relieved after I said that, which means that he must have been holding it in for a while, probably scared that I would reject him or just leave. So you're one of the king's retainers, correct? Yeah? So I was wondering if you perhaps know of a man named Almond. He's supposed to be another one of the king's retainers. Are you perhaps a colleague of his? If so, do you have a means to communicate with him? Almond? What could a guy like him need of him? Is he in some sort of trouble? Yeah, I know him, but what's your deal with him? I just need to talk. It's important. The man seems deflected, sad even. I wonder. No, there's no way. I mean, it's a possibility, but he's a royal. A very important one at that, so surely. Has Almond been asleep? If you see him, please let him know that I will remain in town for the rest of the week. I just need a few minutes for. As the man continues talking, a butler approaches us and touches Snow by the shoulder. My lord, thank the goddesses, I found you. Your presence is required. The prince insisted in meeting with all the viceroys. Can that wait, Charles? I'm afraid not, sir. You're the last one. The man looks at me, then back at the butler, then at me, and he lastly sighs deeply. Please, Sir Illy, don't forget, you would be doing me a great favor. I'll see you soon. And with that, he waves and then leaves, following the butler back into the crowd. I, on the other hand, just remained there, reflecting on that last part of our conversation. What could a man like him want with a guy like Almond? Knowing the wolf, the possibilities are endless. But would he really? Well, I guess my next step of this party should be to find him. It's not like I have many other things to do, and I have a slight suspicion of where he might be. I'm about to leave when I manage to hear a couple of royals talking behind my back, but to my surprise, it's not about me. Could that really be Vice Snow? Wait. Could that really be Viceroy Snow? Oh goddesses, he is. I expected him not to show his face around here, not after all he's done. The nerve of that man. And to both of his siblings. What a monster. But it's not surprising really, his father was also a heathen. His poor wife had to suffer through a lot. Is he married himself? To think about the awful things he must put up with. Given how far away they are, I can hardly hear their conversation, but I know for a fact that they are talking shit about Snow. I want to hear more, but then I remember Snow's own words, and I immediately feel bad with myself. The man approached me even after hearing all the rumors about me. And here I am prying about him. So deciding to be a better person, I leave those people alone and made my way out of the great hall. I exited through one of the side doors and into a long hallway. I walked until I reached a flight of stairs and on the top of those, surely enough, there he is. Finding him was both luck and a hunch. He told me he hated parties, so I guess he wouldn't be inside the halls, but the king needed him to be here, so he would also be nearby. All that plus the fact that he's always liked pretty sights like pussy. All that plus the fact that he's always liked pretty sights led me to find him here, sitting on the handrail of a balcony. And as I said, I was just lucky enough to find him in the first one I looked into. Because let me tell you, there are many balconies on this building. I walked closer to him, leaning beside him on the handrail. It doesn't seem like he wants to start a conversation, so I just speak and just check him out silently. Even though he said he hates this kind of event, he still was dressed up for the occasion. He wearing a very fancy emerald color long shirt with brown pants all tied up by an equally expensive looking leather belt. My eyes are drawn to the shirt, which is partially open, leaving part of his chest exposed to the night. It looks good on him, but I get the feeling it's not supposed to be worn like that. Although there is an almond touch that makes the outfit look unique to him. Hey, slacking off? His ears twitch as he hears me talk, but he doesn't turn his head around. Instead, he just keeps his eyes glued to the sky. On the contrary, mate, I'm keeping an aerial view. Oh, and have you found anything interesting? Yeah, you. I chuckled at his cheesiness, which I usually find stupid, but this time I think he nailed it. Call me crazy if you want, but the mood is having a certain effect on me. The both of us are alone, sitting by ourselves under the full moon. So you enjoy the party, mate? Trying to, but the world's making it difficult. Most of them are just stuck up and pretentious jerks. Yeah, I totally get it. Not my kind of party anyway. I prefer it when there's more dancing and drinking. Oh, the ones at the bar? Yeah, totally. If we hadn't been on a mission, I would have totally invited you to a glass or two. And then we would dance until dawn. Talk about it brings me back to that bar. It was a lot dirtier and sweatier, but it had its charm. At least we could have been free to do whatever we wanted. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. You know, I would have liked that. Almond turns around, his mouth open and his eyes about to leave his sockets. For real? Yeah, I reckon it would be nice to give it a try. Almond's tail starts to wag behind him, betraying his true feelings. We could always go back. Also not today, but around this week. We'll have to see when the time is right. I say that smiling as he smiles back, looking at me with those big green, sparkling eyes and that dancing grin of his. Sweet. We both say nothing else, but soon enough, I remember that I had to give him a message, so I break the silence. You know, I met someone very interesting at the party. Oh yeah? Who was it? And should I be jealous? Maybe. He helps at that, but I know he doesn't mean anything by it. It's just Almond being Almond. Well, for starters, he was the only royal who was not a royal pain in the ass. Uh-huh. What else, mate? Well, he was very kind and polite. Oh, and a great dancer. That's because you haven't danced with a real pro. He hushed again, and now I'm starting to wonder if he's actually jealous. Certainly not, right? I mean, he's got no right to be. He's constantly hitting on other guys and girls. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. It's no time to be thinking about that. And he was a voice word, Snow Clearwater. Ring any bells? Almond stays quiet, looking at me dead in the eye. His expression being very hard to read at the moment. looked back at him, unsure of what to do or what to say. He wanted something, didn't he? He finally spoke, looking away from me with a serious expression. He just wanted to talk. He asked me to let you know that he would be here for the rest of the week. I see. Wait, that's all you're going to say? Are you okay? How do you even know this guy? Just drop it, mate, please. But Almond, I worry about... I know, but he's my problem to deal with. Now please, leave me alone, mate. I need some time to think. I turn around and walk away from him, my head hanging low as my feelings were conflicted right now. I can't help but feel a little bad, but after all, this is the first time Almond snaps at me. But the worst part is that I'm not even mad at him for doing so. I'm just worried. Worried about being in trouble. Worried about him being in trouble. Worried about this new mysterious person and what he means for the wolf. But the thing I'm most worried about is Albert not trusting me enough to talk to me. For a moment I thought he could rely on me, but I guess I was wrong. Although I can't really blame him. After all, I haven't told him anything about my past either. Maybe this is for the best. Maybe it's better if I don't get involved. I've got other things to worry about. And one of them is to find my way back to that ball. To be continued. Just for this update, the new codex content can be viewed here. I need to fix that. Oh wow, that was a lot of writing. I'm exhausted. But it was totally worth it though, as we finally got to see some very important characters for the story to come. Talking about those, do you like them? What are your thoughts of the newcomers? They each have an important role in the story. You'll just have to wait and find out. On another note, this is the first update which the new sprites are implemented. Took me a while to make them and program them, but I like them. They look a lot more like I had envisioned them when I started writing Harder Amethyst. In any case, I'm really happy to be working on this project again, and have forgotten how good it feels to see my boys in action. I'm really sorry for taking so long, and I'll try my hardest to not let it happen again. Thank you so much for all the patience, especially my patrons, who continue supporting me even though the updates and news were very scarce. You guys are the best. Anyway, I've talked long enough, and there's nothing much to say anymore. So as always, here's my Patreon if you want to support me there, and here's my Twitter in case you want to follow my social media. Don't forget to rate this project 5 stars on itch.io if you haven't yet. Have an amazing day and a great week. Love y'all. See you next time. So that was Almond's route. So that's the first time we saw Almond snap at Ellie like that. So apparently this person that Ellie met in the ballroom, he has a history with Almond, and he's a viceroy, so he helps govern the kingdom with the king. So he's one of the most powerful people in the kingdom, so kind of strange for him, a higher ranking person, to be in a relationship with Almond, who is like a commoner. I wonder what made Almond so upset about him that he would snap at Ellie like that. I mean, there's also some history between the two of them. So I don't know. I'm speculating that maybe the man kind of disappointed Almond that maybe he somehow abandoned him so he could, because he got pressure from others that it was below his station to be with somebody like Almond, so maybe he abandoned Almond so he could have his status, or maybe he cheated on Almond. I have no idea, but those are like one of the two possibilities I have. There may be something else to it, so that's why I'm speculating. Okay, so going to start with so now I'm going to start at Careless's route. I'm feeling rather tired as we begin to walk towards the royal castle. The thought of that saddle keeps making me nervous, as if I'm being watched. I assume you're impressed. How can I not? This place is beautiful. It was built hundreds of years ago, as the dust of the Great War drew near. Built by the hands of our inexperienced canine ancestors, it has been remodeled and rebuilt at least 5 times. It looks almost new. Well, it's fairly new. This new model was designed for the first Grand Master 300 years ago. After the Second Great War, correct? Yes, correct. I see our lessons have not gone in vain. As if you would let me forget any of it with your constant tests. He chuckles at that and then looks at me with a kind smile. Since you're so tired of my classes, you should use this week as a break then. You've earned it. That last part caught my attention. Week? What do you mean? I thought we were only staying the night. Oh, you didn't know? The king decided to stay for the week. He told me he had some business to take care of and he needed us nearby. Weird, he never mentioned any of it to me. Why do you think that is? Your guess is as good as mine. The king doesn't strike me as a kind of man that would just forget about stuff like this. Could he be hiding something from me? Why though? What's his game? In any case, I decided not to dwell on it as I follow Achilles to the castle. By the way, Achilles startles me as it's not usually him who starts the conversations. Have you ever attended a big celebration such as this? Not really, no. You can imagine since you know about my upbringing. Yeah, sure. I just didn't want to make assumptions. That's a good point. Maybe I should put that into practice as I tend to jump to conclusions very easily. Well, have you? Yes, a few. They're not really that big of a deal. Just a bunch of people pretending to like each other while playing the game. Game? Bureaucracy is like a game. You must decide on your moves carefully or else you might find yourself at a disadvantage. Who you talk to, your way of dressing, the way you speak, act. You need to take all these variables into consideration. So any recommendations, Mr. Player? Just keep your wits with you and don't trust anybody. Only in the rare cases in which you are of some use to them, people will show interest in you. And Constance's words resonate within me, making me fear a little what's to come. I don't get much time to dwell on them, though, as we come close to a big crowd that has formed in front of the main entrance. All these people look really important and fancy, making me feel really out of place among them. and Colors guides me to an entrance furthest away from the main one. It was a wolf knight standing guard. Identify yourselves. The guard's rough tone of voice made me jump into place, but luckily Colors has kept his composure as he was able to speak to the man. My companion and I are the king's retainers. We were tasked to be here this hour. If you may ask one of your superiors, you shall see we speak the truth. The wolf eyes us up and down, trying to guess if what Acolus is saying is true or not. But before the man could speak again, a very weak voice interrupts the conversation. Yes, let them through, please. To my delight, a known face makes his appearance from behind the big guard. The small dog seems as nervous as always, but he manages to spare me a smile as he sees me. Very well. This way, please. The guard opens a wooden door that leads to a dark hallway, illuminated by a few candles. You must go on your own, Ellie. I have to go change to more appropriate attires, and my tailor must be waiting for me somewhere else. I'll see you inside. I'll nod to that, and then enter the hallway, waving my hand to him before the door closes. So, if we close the gap between the crystals and then divide it by 2, then maybe, just maybe, I hear someone whispering in the distance, barely loud enough for me to understand what they're saying. So I can't help but wonder who it might be, since most of the guests are inside the main hall. Curiosity takes over me, and I decide to scan my surroundings, paying close attention to where the whispers are coming from. The darkness is not a big deal, as the moon is full tonight, so the garden is well lit. Besides, there are not many places to hide in here. Eventually, I find a strange-looking woman sitting on a stone bench. She has been talking to herself while holding a pen and a small book on her hand. I ponder for a few seconds if it's a good idea to interrupt her, but I'm curious to know what she's up to. So I approach her slowly, trying not to startle her, as she seems really focused on what she's doing. Hey, how are you? But she didn't even bat an eye toward me. The girl just continues to aggressively write on the paper. She seems to be in some sort of a trance. Maybe she's just cursed. Are you okay? I say casually, but she didn't even bat an eye towards me. The girl just continues to aggressively write on the paper. She seems to be in some sort of trance. Maybe she's been cursed. What if a spirit took a liking to her and now is forcing her to scribble for the rest of eternity? I chuckle at my own ideas, walking around her and placing myself in front of her. From here, I can kind of see what she's noting down. It's some sort of mathematical formulas and drawing or crystals. How strange. I wonder if she's a researcher of some sort. You spoke to me, yes? She suddenly bursts out, making me jump a little. The lady looks at me through those big glasses on her, never stopping her writing. Yeah, I did. Specimen number 5. That shall be your name. Excuse me? I see, just like the previous story for specimens, they don't react eagerly to their new given name. Could that really be bad manners, like Specimen 19 explained? I must dig deeper into this manners term. The woman writes down something in her book, then stands up from the bench. She keeps her eye glued to me, inspecting me from top to bottom as if I was some sort of strange creature. And this is the moment when I question my life choices. What was I thinking about approaching this weirdo? Would you consider yourself a male? Huh? Yeah. I mean, yeah. I see fascinating. This subject seems to be confused about something as crucial as gender. Could this be a situation that happens to others? Further investigation required. No, no, wait. I'm a guy. But what sort of question is that? Mm-hmm. The subject appears to be in a state of distress. He's sweating. His heartbeat is elevated. He raises his voice even though I'm standing close to him. Oh gosh, this woman is unnerving. Next question, subject 35. Do you identify as a canine? I guess I better answer her without doubting, or else she's going to make a whole deal of it. Yes, I identify as a fox. Interesting. And as a canine, have you ever felt the need to pee around your territory, eat raw flesh, and leave bark marks of your romantic interest? What do you take me for? I'm not an animal. Although that last part. I see. So, would you consider that you've outgrown your primal instincts in favor of a more civilized way of living? Yeah, sure, I did. Damn, I really hope this girl stays with me. Well, she's been smoking because it looks like a trip. Still, this begs the question. Did we evolve to think like this, or were we engineered by a bigger force to be the way we are? Actually, among all the nonsense, that's a good question. Why are we different from the dog, foxes, or wolves that live in the wild? According to the church, we were created differently from the rest of them, but what if that's not true? I mean, there are no other theories. What else could it be then? No, wait, hold up. I'm letting myself get dragged into this craziness. Alright, wait, slow down, please. So, hey, kind of wondering, what's this all about? The girl looks at me confused as if she doesn't understand my language all of a sudden. Merely an experiment. She comments as if this was the most normal thing in the world. Well, what's the next investigation about? The girl places her hand on her chin and ponders for a moment before answering. Well, it started as an investigation about social interactions and canine behavior, but I soon grew tired of it, so I decided to start a new investigation about the male species. Although it has been mostly fruitless, as all of my specimens went away after the second or third question. I honestly can't blame those guys. And what's her name? Ah, yes, that's also part of the social code, isn't it? That is one of the conclusions I arrived at in my first investigation. My name is Petra. Nice to meet you. Wow, this is the first normal thing she said since this whole interaction started. Guess we're making progress. Nice to meet you, Petra. My name is Ellie. Yes, I know many things about you, Specimen 35. My father has filled me in on the details. He said you're rude, uneducated, petulant, and apparently you have a bad smell. She leans closer and takes a quick whiff at me. Could it be that my source of information was wrong? Your smell's not disgusting to me. Perhaps it has to do with the variables of the experiment. Subject 35 won 100 laps around the garden and then come back to me for a new specimen. How about we leave that experiment for another time, yeah? If you insist, we shall make a next appointment. Thank the goddesses. By the way, you mentioned your father. Do I know him? Now that I think about it, Petra looks like someone I know, but who? As she's about to answer, rustle in the nearby bushes calls out our attention, and then we hear some steps approaching from somewhere. Once I turn around, I'm met with none other than Achilles himself. So it was you yelling. I was wondering what that was all about. The wolf approaches us wearing a very fancy-looking suit, which fits so nicely. He looks elegant and important at the same time, although I guess that's to be expected from the Grand Master. Yo, where you been? Just busy talking to someone, I guess. What are you doing out here anyway? Before I can answer his question, Achilles notices the person behind me. His expression goes from curiosity to mild annoyance, and then returns to his usual poker face. Petra, what a surprise. Hi, cuz. Long time no see. Cuz, so this means, of course, How didn't I notice before? He's a spitting image of Achilles and his uncle. That jerk I met at the library earlier today. Wait, if that's true, then it means that asshole told her all those things about me. What brings you here? I was just conducting an experiment with my subject here, present. Petra points and Achilles lifts a brow at me. I rub the back of my head and give the wolf an awkward smile. He seems to understand that I'll explain later and decides to move away from this topic. So, how's your investigation with the polygon crystals going? Any breakthroughs? Most definitely. I made some amazing discoveries. But I'll have to hold my tongue on this one, cuz Dad told me to not mention it to anyone until we made the official announcement. Ah, I see. So the investigation is ready to be published, I suppose. Cunning as always, Achilles manages to get information out of her without even trying. The girl covers her mouth and then looks down. Ah, dang it, I messed up again. Anyway, you really should go back to the ball pits where the main event is about to start. You might be right. After all, I'm required to be there. Very well, I'll go. Cuz, test subject 35. Petra closes her notes and walks past us, taking a turn to the right as he reaches a crossroad. The thing is, the main hall is to the left. Did he do that on purpose? Haven't seen ever changes. I must admit, she's way weirder than you, and that's saying a lot. I'm sure, but Achilles doesn't laugh at it. Maybe it's not the right time. She's a great investigator, but she gets lost in her own world too often for her own good. Is she really that big of a deal? Her work is actually impressive. My uncle thinks I don't know, but I know. She lets it slip from time to time. What's her investigation about? Well, I guess there is no harm in telling you. Since she's been investigating for the past few years of properties of quartz and their possible use in magic manipulation. You see, it's been discovered recently that some of the crystals have a minor resonance with quem. Rubies, for example, can store an excessive amount of quem. This, upon its release, burns at a high temperature, creating fire. So what you're trying to say is that watts can explode now? No, it's not only that. How do I explain this? Imagine the moon. How do you propose to shine its light upon us? I have no idea. Well, astrologers have discovered that the moon is actually a big walk in space. To put it in simpler words for you, and that walk is capable of channeling the energy the sun gives it and then shining it back at us. So the moon doesn't store the energy, it just reflects it. That also happens with certain quartz. They reflect the quem. But in a hypothetical case, if we discover a crystal was stable enough to store quem within it, the possibilities are endless. We could store infinite amount of energy. The wolf places his hand on his chin and looks away, lost in thought. I mean, it sounds like a fairy tale to me. It may not be, and that is worrisome. Could be the last straw she needs to take away my position as a Grand Master. Gods just know if she were to be the Grand Master, it would all be turned upside down. But she has a right to become the Grand Master. I thought that spot is yours by law. And technically it is, but if the Grand Master is deemed incompetent by the bookkeepers, they can hold a vote to pass the mantle to the next candidate of the family. In that case, it would be her and not my uncle, since the title already skipped his generation. Although, to be honest, if she became the Grand Master, I know very well that my uncle would assume all the responsibilities and do all the work for her. So pretty much she would only be his puppet, running away. But she's always keen, so nothing would change. Well, she's always been, so nothing would change. Silence fell upon us all of a sudden. It kind of seems to be conflicted about something, but I'm not sure if I should ask him. After all, this is family business. I don't want to intrude in his life. Are you okay, buddy? Huh? The wolf barely acknowledges what I said, and he's been staring at thin air this whole time. And as for your thoughts, it's nothing really. I'm a bit worried. President may be a little over her head, but she's already published 2 different investigations about the flow of magic. Meanwhile, I haven't posted nothing I can call my own. I've only aided with other investigations, and my own personal one has been stuck for a few years. The wolf seems legitimately concerned about this matter. I feel really bad about him. I may not get it entirely, but I'm sure he must have his reasons for worry about his position being questioned. So I place my hand on his shoulder and try to muster a warm smile to try and cheer him up. Hey, for all I know, you're the smartest person in this entire castle. Don't give up so easily. I know you'll find a solution. Besides, you got the king's support, right? That seems to brighten up his mood. Those cheeks turn a little red as he looks away bashfully. Let's not waste any more time. I'm sure the king must be waiting. The wolf's behavior returns to normal, which means he's back to his usual poker face. Want to go back together then? He shakes his head in denial as he crosses his arms. No, so I have to decline. I must meet with some of the bookkeepers before the main event starts. You, on the other hand, should not leave the main hall anymore. You're needed there. He scolds me as if I were a mere kid who didn't know what he's doing. And in a sense he's right. But he doesn't have to put it that way. Yeah, I'll go back, don't worry. He smirks back at me, relaxing a little when he hears me goofing off. Good, at least you do know how to listen. Good boy. He turns around and then waves his hand back at me, leaving my side as he walks towards the main hall. I walk some bandits to the sea of people. I'm still a little worried about his reaction, but there's really no time for that now. There are many things that I gotta worry about. And one of them is to find my way back to that hall. Okay, so we did a college's route just now. So I'm not surprised that his uncle said that about Ellie. Well, the lady there is that man's daughter apparently, and he said that Ellie was rude. And I think he said he smelled. You know, that man that who was Carl's uncle that we met at the library, I think. But I guess to him, because he's a commoner, he doesn't fully submit himself to him. Like, if you don't fully submit yourself to somebody, you don't show them the absolute most respect. If you don't go over beyond to respect them, simply because they're in a high position, then they say you're rude. So, yeah, that's kind of like how nobles and uppity people are. Like, you gotta go over and beyond to respect them. If you don't, they say you're rude. Anyway, his uncle wants his daughter to be the new bookkeeper. He's very antagonistic towards the Callus. He also doesn't want him to continue, so. And his daughter, she's very dedicated to her investigations, and she's managed to make a lot of findings, and this could help the kingdom. And Callus said that he only managed to, I don't think he'd done any findings yet, but he's still on his first one. Like, he's still trying to on his first investigation. So also his uncle and some other forces want him gone, his daughter, to be the new bookkeeper instead, because she has more success, and plus he can control her. So, a lot of family drama between Echolus and his uncle and her, I guess her. Okay, so now we're going to do Monster's route now. So it looks much taller now. The creator decided to alter their height so they can fit with their correct height, because Waldrick's 6'7" and Almond's 6'2", and I think Echolus is 6'5", and Alien must be 5'8", I think. So they look like they're at their appropriate heights here. And there's some neighbors out here playing some loud music, so I got this fan on so I can try to drown the noise away, so I can concentrate a little bit more. Once I made it there, I'm immediately astonished by the beauty of the structure in front of me. It's so big that it may as well be touching the sky, giving the building an air of grandeur. This way. The wolf still snapping me out of my thoughts. He's once more a few steps ahead of me, which makes me groan as I want to take in all of this new environment. Please wait just for a minute. To my surprise, the man actually stops on his tracks and turns around. What is it now? Need to pee or something? What? No, it's not that. It has in my spirits that I can't help but buzz from the embarrassment. It's just an ass sometimes. Roger just shrugs it off and then looks into the crowd of people that have formed in front of the castle gates. I turn my gaze in that direction too, and then can't help but ask him, this tour is the event of the year, right? I suppose it is. I give up Roger's bluntness, but the wolf just grunts. He clearly doesn't find it funny. It's not really that big of a deal. It's just your typical feast accompanied by some dancing and lots of talking. It may not be a big deal for you, but I don't think I'll ever get used to this environment. You'll do fine. You'll have a week to get used to it. Huh? What do you mean? Are we just staying for the night? As long as my orders go, we will remain in this castle for an entire week, starting tomorrow. Whose orders? The king's directly. Why? Got a problem? No, not at all. It's just unexpected. The king doesn't strike me as the kind of man that would just forget about stuff like this, and this is too perfect to be a coincidence. There must be a hidden reason behind his actions, I'm sure. In any case, I decide not to dwell on it as I follow Waldrick into the castle. Waldrick moves among the crowd with ease. Me, on the other hand, am struggling a little as I'm getting pushed around more than usual. Luckily for me, the wolf sees this and grabs me by the wrist once more, making way among the people and getting us out of there. While I'm thankful for getting me away from all the people, my wrist hurts a little since he is not being exactly gentle. Still, he won't hear me complain about it. This way. Roger guides me to an entrance furthest away from the main one. It was a knight and standing guard. Identify yourselves. The man's rough exterior made me feel a little uneasy, but of course that didn't affect Roger one bit. With his usual commanding attitude, the black wolf stands in front of the guard and looks down at him as he speaks. Have your eyes gone bad, soldier? Look at the crest on my chest and tell me you don't recognize it. But my apologies, sir. It's quite dark. The man seems intimidated by the wolf, which I totally relate to, but before he could muster another word, a side voice interrupted their conversation. Yes, let them through, please. To my delight, an old face makes his appearance from behind the big guard. The small dog seems as nervous as always, but he manages to spare me a smile as he sees me. Very well. This way, please. The guard opens a wooden door that leads to a dark hallway, illuminated only by a few candles. Go on, what? I must speak to the guards and perform my duties before attending the party. Try not to be a burden for the king. I nodded that and then entered the hallway, waving my hand to him before the door closes. I stand there, my plate in hand, staring at the overwhelming amount of food on the table. There are so many options that I can't decide what to take. Should I perhaps try the lobster? It would be a first for me. But what if I don't like it? I don't want to throw food away. And my instincts tell me that's a big no-no. Maybe it'll be better if I just stick with what I know. After all, you can never go wrong with beef. Meat has always been my favorite, and there are many appetizing plates sitting in front of me. Before I can take anything though, my attention is drawn towards my right, to a group of people who are chatting happily. In the middle of them, there is a middle-aged fella, around the same age as Mrs. Biscotti, give or take. But the man itself is not what calls my attention. What really picked my interest is the crest hanging from his neck. He's from the church, and given how the other royals are fawning over him, I would bet on my life he's a big deal. As curiosity took over me, I started to slowly approach the group, pretending to be mostly interested in the food and not them. My Lord Cardinal, did you get the donation my family sent you? We were hoping to help the needy with it, but if you need more, don't hesitate to ask. See a female royal who had so much expression making me almost puke. Suck up. If you want to do a nice deed, there's no need to announce it to the whole town. Now then, did she say Cardinal? Wait, does that mean that he's only one step under the holy master himself? He's one of the highest ranking members of the church, the inner circle of cardinals. Now I see why all these people are surrounding him like hungry wolves, ready to leap at him. And what about your work with those barbarians, Your Holiness? Are we really safe? My family fields are close to the border, and we always fear that those monsters will attack us. I assure you, your fields are safe. I keep a constant eye on the Crusaders' work. The barbarians will not trouble us. Have faith in the church's work. The royal sighs and relieves, zipping on his glass of wine. Have faith in the church, he says. What a joke. By the way, Your Holiness, have you heard the rumors about those pillow biters? Biters. Is there anything the church can do to fix them? And now forms in the back of my throat, I hear that royal woman say those words. I clench my fist and try to act cool, but I really wanted to bash her head against the table and break her nose. Keep it cool, Ellie. I heard there's even bars and hotels where those heathens meet. How disgusting. So, what is it to you, bitch? Why can't you just leave us alone? Perhaps torture would be the better method to teach them a lesson. Some of them are too far gone. A noble man intervenes. I have a better idea. What if I take this glass and sew up your... Those poor souls have lost their way, brother. They are turning off from the path of the goddesses. If nothing, we should pity them, not torture them. I assure you, the church's members are working their hardest to set them straight. we will help them see the light. We didn't ask to be born this way. They don't know what it's like to be hunted down just for the things you like. We just want to live our lives and be left alone. Why is it so hard to understand? Now, if you'll excuse me, I have an appointment for roasted beef. All the royals make way for the cardinal, letting him pass. It took me a second to notice, but he is now standing next to me. I thought about running, but that would look too suspicious, wouldn't it? But what am I supposed to do? I don't want him to notice me. The man standing beside me picks up a plate and grabs some meat from the buffet. I remain motionless, trying not to make any eye contact with him, although that would be impossible since he's got his eyes covered by a red cloth. Is he blind? Maybe it's safe to give him a few looks. It's not like he's going to notice or anything. So I decided to give him a few subtle peeks. At first glance, he looks like a normal coyote or bait, a little overweight. But upon a closer inspection, I can notice a few key details. For starters, it seems like his right arms have been chopped off entirely, as I don't manage to see it, even underneath that cape of his. Aside from that, he's got a very big scar that covers part of his face. And those two things lead me to guess that this man was a warrior at some point in his life, which makes sense given the fact that he's got the emblem of the Crusaders strapped to his belt. That makes me wonder how he lost his arm, though. Quite a feat, wouldn't you agree? The man suddenly says, I look around trying to find the person he's speaking to, but I see no one. Could he be speaking to me? Did he notice my presence, or is he just speaking at the air? Excuse me, are you talking to me? Who else? I don't see anyone around. The man jolted, clearly indicating that he can't see. I nervously chuckled, not wanting to make the situation more awkward. Yeah, it's alright. Food's good. His ears twitched for a moment as he turns towards me. Accent. Are you from the other city, perhaps? I placed my right hand on my throat, as if that would make me speak any differently. Was it really that bad? I've been practicing my noble speech. After all, I don't know what to say, so I just remained quiet as I grabbed some more food. Oh, my apologies. Did I make you uncomfortable? I didn't mean it in a bad way, of course. I just thought to start a conversation. Now I feel a little embarrassed. Am I being a jerk? No, it's okay. No need to apologize. You believe I was looking down on you, like you don't belong here? I silently gasped at the man's comment, unable to formulate an answer. When I was a commander, I used to find many youth like that. They felt like they didn't belong anywhere, until they found their calling at the service of the goddesses. Could you perhaps be interested? I must decline, Your Holiness. Cassian is fine. Yeah, Sir Cassian. As I was saying, I must decline. I already have a calling of my own. The man smiles at me, tilting his head in my direction. Oh, what pity. You would make a good addition to our ranks. The man continues to grab food, placing it all on his plate. He must really enjoy eating, as his plate can barely hold anything else. That, or he's not aware of how much food there is already. Really? How can you tell? The coyote seems perplexed by my question, but he just smiles and finally stops talking. Well, he stops taking food. Your aura. There's something unique about you. Aura? Unique? Yes, it's a mix of many things. Well, that's what heck. What is this man talking about? Is he high? And now you seem confused. Allow me to explain. When the goddesses take our sight, they bless us with the gift of insight. So you are blind. I cover my mouth in shame, noticing that I might have said something insulting to him, but the coyote just laughs and shrugs it off. Blind as a mole, yes, but I can see so much. A lot more than when I had eyes. Had eyes? Does that mean the trip scooped them out of the sockets? Oh my, did I spook you? No, I'm just surprised, that's all. It's a tradition. The three cardinals must lose their sight to gain the gift of the goddesses. Besides, who sees no evil does no evil, right? Yeah, of course. Well, I'm not sure that's how the saying goes, but whatever makes him feel good. Still, I think it's crazy. I could never go through such a thing. By the way, what is your name? You have yet to introduce yourself. Oh shit, should I tell him my real name? I don't know if that's a good idea. Given the fact that I'm conducting an investigation on the church, I'm Anthony. Well, nice to meet you, Anthony. Likewise. I'm sweating buckets trying to come up with something to say. Unfortunately, I literally have nothing in mind to talk about. As I'm about to give up, I feel a strong grip pressed against my shoulder. I look behind me, and there he is, my savior. And the goddess is someone I know sewed up. Walter looks very fancy, rocking a fur-based coat and brownish cape in a suit. I offer him a relieved smile as a token of my appreciation for saving me from this situation, but instead of smiling back or even acknowledge me, the wolf keeps his gaze on Cassian. Seems like we have company, Anthony. Long time no see, Sir Wrick. Huh? Weird he says that, because he can't. I'll forget that. I'm too confused to try to explain the joke. What is going on? How does he know Wrick? Because of his aura? But wait, how does he know his name? Do these two know each other? Cassian. Blunt as always, don't you? The wolf gives Cassian a deaf stare and a growl. I can cut the tension with a knife. Wrick with his typical aggressive attitude, and Cassian with his condescending smirk. I really want to ask Wrick what his deal is, but as I'm about to open my mouth, the bigger male tightens his grip on my shoulder. What are you doing here? Me? Enjoying the good food, the good company, of course. He looks, turns in my direction as he says that. I wouldn't miss a celebration for the world. The coyote smirk widens in a way that almost seems mocking. Meanwhile, Wrick growls at him, keeping his eyes on the man at all times. It feels like he's seizing him, as if he thought the cardinal would jump and attack us at any moment. Meanwhile, I just stand there, as still as a statue, unable to comprehend what's going on. Come on, we're leaving. Huh? We're leaving. The wolf grabs my wrist and pretty much forces me away from the coyote. I look up at Wrick, trying to tell him with my eyes to let me go, but he was not looking at me at all. He was just staring at the door. I'll see you soon, Anthony, Cassian said with a smile that gives me the chills. Wrick dragged me out of the castle and into the gardens. Once there, he hides us behind a wall and places one hand on each side of my head, covering me with his huge body. He keeps us very close to the wall in an attempt to not drag any unwanted attention to ourselves. He is currently saying nothing. He just looks at me intensely, his eyes never leaving mine. I can feel the heat of his body seeping into mine as we're extremely close to each other. Aside from that, the agitated breath of the man hits against my nose, his face mere inches away from mine. And to top it all off, his scent is extremely intoxicating. It's very earthly and masculine, but he's tried to mask it with a vanilla-scented cologne. Still, his musk mixes with the vanilla, creating a new scent which is both sweet and bitter. For the massive fact that I'm enjoying being so close to him, but I'm honestly getting lightheaded. And I'm sure that I must be blushing a little, at least a little. I continue to remain speechless, waiting for the man to say something or to at least make a sound, but he doesn't. What's gotten into him? I can't read him at all. I have so many questions. Are you okay? His voice is calm and it doesn't carry any anger, which is weird. For a second there, I thought he was mad, furious even. I mean, he found me talking with the cardinal at the church right after he had told me to keep the distance. I thought he was going to yell at me and snap at me, but all this time he was worried. What were you thinking talking to a man like that, what? I'm sorry. I didn't know who he was, and before I could notice, I was trapped in a conversation with him. Wolf sighs deeply, looking at me with a mixture of annoyance and worry in his eyes. What do you two talk about? It was a weird conversation, to be honest. We started talking about food, then he asked me where I was from. After that, he just started to rant about the calling of the church as some sort of ritual in which they take your eyes off. It was honestly very creepy. Did you say something? Did you say anything to him about who you were or what your intentions were? No, nothing at all. I just introduced myself with a fake name. Good, good. Although he most likely already knows who you are. After all, nothing that happens in the church goes past the three of them. The Cardinals? Wadsworth nods at my question and then sighs deeply once more. They are the highest authority inside the church. There is nothing they don't know, and nothing happens without the three of them being involved somehow. Cassian, the Cardinal, is strength, and Grimmoon's chosen one. That is his full title. What about the other two? Are they here as well? Wadsworth ponders for a moment and then shakes his head in denial. Celeste and Mika. No, I don't think so. I haven't seen them, and it's not usual for the Cardinals to leave the Holy Land, so I'm guessing Cassian is here for a good reason. You know it? No, I have no clue what. Wow, this is the most Wadsworth has ever talked to me. I guess he's really into this whole go against the church business, or maybe there's something deeper that I don't know yet. Now that makes me wonder, do you have history with this Cassian fella? Wadsworth tenses for a second, his face showing a mix of disgust and fear. Maybe I shouldn't have asked. It's probably a touchy subject for him. I really want to know, though. Yes, I go. Hey, it's okay, man. You don't have to tell me. I press my hand against his beating chest. His heart is going so fast I believe it might explode. Slowly the wolf relaxes and then he returns to his normal behavior. I look into his eyes once more and now my heart skips a beat. There was a certain sadness and longing in them that I've never seen before. No, wait, scratch that. I've seen it a few times. Every time he looks into that ring or his neck, he has the same look in his eyes. Thank you. He doesn't elaborate or say anything else. He just moves a few steps away from me. Alright, get your ass moving, want. I suspect the king wants us to be by his side at the time of the prince's arrival. It should be soon. My cheeks are probably still a little red from our previous interaction, but I tried to play it cool and act as if nothing happened. Got it. Go back there then. The wolf grunts and then turns around, not sparing me another word as he walks back to the grand hall. I, on the other hand, decided to remain there for a little longer, trying to compose myself. He was so close, mere inches. If I had pressed just a bit forward, we could have. I slapped myself in the face softly with both hands. Gotta focus on tonight. There's no time to think about stuff like this. There are many other things I gotta worry about, and one of them is to find my way back to that ball. To be continued. What's the cool that's at? Trying to see what the codex is at. Wait a minute. Maybe coordinates might be here. Okay. I'm not gonna read this, but I'm just going to sew it. If you want to take a good close look at that, you can pause the video. I'm not gonna do all of it. Alright, so Cassian is one of the most powerful people in the church. In fact, he's just below the one person who's the most powerful in the church. I forgot the title that person has, but anyway, he's one of the cardinals. And when you get in a conversation with those type of people, things go really bad for you. I mean, they can have you. They can have bad things happen to you, just because they have power. And when I first met him, he seemed to be decent, but when he said that phrase, see no evil, hear no evil, or I think it's see no evil, hear no evil. When he said that phrase, that's when I got red flags, because apparently, I think he's going to do some bad stuff. If it benefits a church and its goals, he's willing to overlook bad stuff that he or his subordinates have done. So at first I thought he was somewhat decent, and then when he made that remark, that's when I realized that this guy's not all that good, probably. And when Wrick came, he very much did not like him. And there was one moment when Wrick even kind of feared him. So he really wanted Ellie out of there as soon as possible. Now Cassian might know Ellie's real name. So he probably just kind of laughed it off eternally in his mind. Like, oh, he doesn't want to tell me his real name, that's fine. But, I don't know, maybe he doesn't know his real name, maybe he does, but anyway. But if everybody knows about what Ellie did, so he must especially know what he did also. So he might know that his real name is Ellie and not Anthony. So we got to see a different side of Wrick. He's more, instead of this angry and this stern and this angry, stern person, he had a concerned look on him, like he really wanted to make sure Ellie was okay. So we got to see that part of Wrick. So basically, in all these three routes, we end up meeting somebody that the three main characters know or had history with. So in the experiences you have, and the experience they have with these people have been kind of negative. So that's a common theme among the 3 roots. So, like the creator said, these characters will be very important in their respective roots. So, anyway, I like the sprites. I like it very much. They look taller now than they did with the old sprites, so they look. It really tells us how big and tall they are compared to Ellie. I mean, you really get a good idea of them and how large they are compared to Ellie. And Ellie's not quite up to average when it comes to other canines, so the sprites, the creator did a good job on the sprites. So I like the sprites, the newest sprites here. So we did all 3 roots, and that's all for Heart of Amethyst. And whenever the next update comes out, I'll have a video for that. So thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.